Hello everyone and welcome to the beautiful ocean of Italy on BeamNG Drive. But today we're going to be taking a look at a mod that is almost as beautiful as this here view. This is the Civetta Mondello, and it's a mod that has been released for a while now but just received its first update that has really improved the quality and made this possibly one of the best mods that Beam has ever had. Now, as you can see, it is a very pretty mid-2000s, well, early to mid-2000s Italian supercar. It's evidently based mostly on the Ferrari 360 Modena, but it has quite a few of its own kind of styling cues, which I quite like. Now, obviously, comparisons are going to be made to the GTA 4 Turismo. That's inevitable when a game tries to replicate, that kind of era of Ferrari. But I think this thing looks really good. I think it has its own unique styling elements. Some that I'm not a massive fan of, I will be honest. I think the tail lights, well, mainly the indicators and the reverse lights look a bit strange. But I like it generally. It's a good looking car. It's quite stylish. Now, this mod originally came out, as I said, quite a while ago, and it was left kind of abandoned for a little while. It is a paid mod, I will make that clear now. But, you can have a look. There is a demo version, and you can decide whether you think this is worth your insert currency here on the screen. Now, if we get into the interior, as you can see as well, it is very well modelled, very pretty. But I think that this vehicle really stands out when you get to driving, as you would probably expect. So we're going to do that now. We're going to start up that flat plane V8. And get moving, and I will explain to you why I think this is possibly the best handling vehicle that Beam has ever had. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, that's quite a bold statement. Beam has quite a number of good handling vehicles, the hill climb cars especially come to mind. Those all handle, well, very tremendously. They've all got tons of grip. But I think this thing is honestly better because it doesn't just stick to the road. It allows itself to get the back end out, but it is so controllable and so predictable that I absolutely love driving it. I mean, I will admit, I've barely driven it, to be honest. I drove it a little bit to test. These are mostly my first reactions. I just had to make sure the mod actually worked. But every single second that I've had has just been an absolute riot. I mean, you can see here, I'm weaving in and out of traffic. I'm clipping wing mirrors off everyone, yes, but it's so predictable, it has so much grip, and when it does let go, it does it in a predictable manner. It lets you get a bit of slide out and correct it. It doesn't snap like you would possibly worry that a mid-engine vehicle would. It's just great. It's absolutely wonderful. It makes me look like and feel like I'm very skilled, when in fact I'm not. Now, it's not, it's still possible to have accidents. It does have quite a bit of power. I mean, 350 horsepower isn't anything to be sniffed at, especially at something that only weighs 1,500 kilos nearly. But, this thing manages to make it just so much fun. Now, I'm having a bit of difficulty getting up to proper amounts of speed with all this traffic here, but I'm sure you could probably see by the ballsy manoeuvres that I am making that this thing really does handle like such a riot. It's also got good strong suspension and pretty strong bodywork and suspension powers as well. I mean, you can clip it off other cars as I've been doing, and it doesn't immediately fall to pieces and stop handling completely. Obviously it will get damaged like every other vehicle does in Beam, but it's lovely. I love driving this thing. It is an absolute pleasure. It gives you confidence that I will honestly say I don't think another vehicle I've driven in Beam has, especially not something mid-engined. I mean, the bolide is a bit of a handful, certainly. I mean, it can be a lot of fun, but ooh, got a bit of understeer there. But the bolide can definitely snap at you and just nowhere near as predictable as this, and the Scintilla is just so much faster that it's kind of in a different league. I mean, you're going double the speed, so it's somewhat difficult to directly compare them. But I would say I definitely enjoy driving this more than the Scintilla, even if the Scintilla is faster, because this thing instills confidence. I mean, it's especially... I haven't really had much of a chance to show it off yet, but when you get the back end out, it really rewards you for sliding it. But even without, you know, it doesn't have a wing, it doesn't have big downforce or anything, it still keeps the back end planted. I have had a crash there. I mean, this is the base Strada model. I'm driving the manual one, which just goes to show that it doesn't have to be some sort of super limited edition model to be an absolute riot to drive. And we're going to take it down to the airport here, and I'm going to show you just how much fun sliding this thing around can be. I mean, you know on old Top Gear when they do these kind of power tests and the vehicles would effortlessly slide through shot, like, you know, the drivers were the most skilled people ever to touch a throttle pedal. Well, this thing could kind of do it. I mean, you know, it's not the easiest. Being mid-engined, it has inherent issues with maintaining slides and stuff like that. It can snap at you quite nastily, but generally, it's very, very predictable. Again, also, being a supercar, it doesn't quite have the steering angle that you would need to hold some of the slides that it can do, which can be a bit of a problem, but in general, I absolutely love chucking this thing around, and that engine note is just glorious. I mean, oh, look at it. This interior, that sound, it's wonderful. This is an amazing quality mod. Now, through all of this video so far, we've just been checking out the base model, but there are a lot more configs than just that, and we're going to take a look at a couple now, and basically get a feel for just how good this mod is. Now, this is the Strada that we were looking at before, and we're going to take a look next at the Aperta, but we're going to take a look at specifically the automatic one, because this also has a very cool feature that not many mods have. So here it is, the Aperta. As you can see, it's pretty similar, except it's got a fabric convertible roof on top, you know, like a Spider Ferrari or something like that. But let's say you don't like having the roof up. Let's say, you know, you'd rather get some wind in your hair. Well, if you get inside and have a look up here and click this, that's right. This thing has a fully operational electric convertible roof. I mean, we checked out the CCF before, which has its manual top, as, you know, the normal MX-5 does. That's not a criticism of that mod. But this takes it to another level with it being automatically retractable. You just click a button and it's gone. And you click that same button again and it comes back up. It lifts up this panel and the roof comes out. I mean, obviously, if you look at it too closely, you can see there is clipping between different things. That is the limit of having a model like this where, you know, you want it to be able to deform in crashes but also keep its shape. You know, you want it to look good when it's on the car and look like it's one big piece. So that's not, you know, that's a nitpick to complain about, really. But also, if you get inside here, you'll notice it has this little, well, I'm not really sure what to call it, a dingus. We're going to call it a dingus. And if you know anything about, you know, F1 transmission Ferraris, you'll know that this is the gear selector. It has reverse, neutral, forwards. Well, if you put the handbrake down and you go forwards in automatic mode, you will notice that it has a small throttle cut between gears. This is a very close representation of a real-life Ferrari F1 transmission. Now, the original version of this mod didn't have that. It was just a kind of regular automatic as you'd find in, say, my Volvo, you know, torque converter, all of that. But the update has brought the special higher quality F1 transmission. You know, has its ups and downs, but is a very nice thing to see in the mod. It's realistic for what you'd see of the day. You know, the shift gaps are they're not horrendous, but they're not great. But, you know, this is what these vehicles were like, and I love to see details like this. I love to see, because this is all being controlled with custom lure, it's not just something that they could easily implement into the mod. I love to see the effort being gone to make this thing more realistic by having this transmission. Now, if you don't know what a kind of F1 box is, basically it is a regular manual that is controlled hydraulically. So when you pull back on the paddle, it just shifts gears for you. There's no clutch pedal. But it's not, you know, it's a middle ground between, you know, a dual clutch, let's say, and a regular manual. It's the best that could be done at the time. That's what I will say. They're not perfect. They can be a bit sluggish, but again, you know, no other car in Beam has this. No base game vehicle has a transmission like this. So it's really cool to see that they've gone to the effort of installing this kind of realistic custom transmission to make the driving experience of the automatic of this similarly flawed to how the real one would be. I mean, it means that there's no lightning fast shifts, so having an automatic isn't as advantageous over the manual as you might expect. I just have to open the roof. Oh, the roof cannot be toggled over 6 miles per hour. I didn't know that. I did not know that. That is something I didn't know. Well, we'll slow down to 6. And now it is opening while we're driving. How cool is that? What happens if I floor it now? Oh, I guess it just keeps going. It's probably not very pleased with me. And we have our electronic folded roof. Now, I love this feature personally because the one problem with convertibles in Beam is that with most mods up until now, really, if you wanted to go from a hardtop to from roof up to convertible, you would have to go into the part selector and remove the roof, and it's a bit clunky. And if you have a damaged vehicle, if you're trying to, sink a vehicle across or keep it without having to reset it, it does kind of ruin your immersion. Now, one thing I would like to request if the author is watching this, rolling down windows. The CCF has them. It would be greatly appreciated if this thing had them as well, as along with the accompanied muffling. I think I just caught a wing mirror in my crotch. Along with it, something is deeply broken with this vehicle. Along with the accompanying muffling disappearing when you open the windows or the roof. Well, that was a crash. That was a crash test, in fact. This thing held up really well. I mean, I guess it's designed to be quite strong since there is a likelihood it will have high-speed accidents, being a supercar. Very, very nice. Now, the next one we'll take a look at is the Polizia. Much like with the Bolide and the Scintilla, this comes with a police model. Now, if you've seen, I'm sure you've seen, that in real life in Italy they do have kind of supercar police cars, although they're normally used for parades and promotional purposes. But, in this game you can use it to chase crims and lock them up in your community. You're going to have to back up there, mate. No, that's called crashing into a police officer. You've crashed into a police... You're still crashing into a police car. Now, it's basically just a base strada with the light on the top and the livery. But this is nice to have. This is good fun. I'm sure it will come in handy in police crim catching escapades because it is so good to drive. Excuse me, coming through. I have important police business to attend to. Oh no, police business went badly wrong. Police business went badly wrong. I'm in a field. Oh no, they might find out that I wasn't on police business. Now up next we have this, the 45th anniversary edition, available in both the hardtop and the Aperta. This is a manual-only model with some slight changes. It has livery on the side that is apparently reminiscent of the Bolide. I can see it. And a fully red leather interior. Now, I will say the interiors on this thing are absolutely gorgeous, and there's one in particular. I'm not sure if it's included in any stock config, but it is completely stunning, I will say. I am in love with it, and I look forward to showing it to you at some point later, because it is just so me-spec, and by that I mean somewhat hideous. Now, I don't think this is really any faster than the regular. Move out of my way, I'm important. Now, I don't think this is any faster than the regular model. Well, actually, no, I tell a lie. It does have a bit more horsepower, but it's not. Sorry. It's it's not drastically different, but it is a nice, faster model, and it has these very, very cool wheels. I do truly love these wheels. I think they look great. Now we're going to have a very high-speed crash. That was a lot of spinning, and I'm still somehow drivable. This thing is really strong. I've come to realise that this thing just doesn't take damage that badly. Yeah, that was a massive selection of accidents, and it still looks like the car, and it still would drive. I mean, it's a bit mashed up at the front, so it can't put its power down, but oh no, it can still drive this way. I mean, the damage on that Pessima compared to the front of this, it's truly a pretty strong car. I have a feeling that this thing could come in useful in future BeamNG challenges and stuff like that. Now up next, you may be able to tell by this kind of Alcantara, more race-themed, stripped slightly interior, is the Corsa, which is what the 45th anniversary is based on. I did not realise. But this is kind of a more, kind of like the Challenge Stradale, or the Scuderia. It's a more track-themed, stripped-down, lighter version with a bit more power and some cooler looks. Now, I like the stripe on this. I think it looks very, very good. As I said, I love these wheels that it's on. This is just a good addition to the mod. It's not drastically different, but it's good enough. It's nice to have. Now, this doesn't come as an aperta, as I'm sure you would probably not be too surprised to learn. And it is available in both manual and automatic, where I believe the real-life Challenge Stradale... I've hit a tree. But yes, this is available in manual or automatic, where I believe the real-life Challenge Stradale only came in the automatic. But how does it fare in the accident I'm just about to have? It's really strong. I mean, that was a high-speed crash, and I can drive over to the ETK that I crashed into. That thing's messed up, and I'm fine. I mean, I don't know how realistic this is, to be completely honest. This thing feels stronger than even, I'm pretty sure this is stronger than the Scintilla, but, it's impressive, and it makes it even more of a usable vehicle, having a supercar where, you can, in career mode, say, you could get into a police chase, get a bit of damage, and you'd still escape with a usable vehicle. Although you'd probably go bankrupt fixing it. Ow. Didn't survive that so well. Now, as you may be able to tell by the racing livery and the visible roll cage on the inside, this is the Corsa Cup car, which is the racing version that the Corsa is kind of based on. As you can see, very much a Challenge Stradale from the Challenge Stradale Cup, whatever the hell it was called. A race model that you can buy into and then take to races and probably not win. But it's very cool to see. I always say that, but it's because everything in this mod is so cool to see, It's a bit more track focused, the suspension, the tyres, the brakes, the roll cage and everything, but it's still... My ABS stopped working there. I pinky promised that wasn't my fault. It still is just as chuckable and just as excruciatingly strong as all the others. Oh, yeah. Excuse me. Jesus, that was close. And I imagine... Oh no, the jump's the other way. Oh! I was going to say the roll cage probably makes it survive this jump even more. There was not a jump. Ow! Sorry, car. Now, as you can probably tell by that whistling behind me and the fact that it's accelerating at an extreme rate of knots and trying to kill me, this is the first modified variant. This is the Mitech, based off, I can't think of a specific company, but, high-end Ferrari tuners. This has a twin-turbo setup and some custom bumpers and aero and all of that jazz. Looks very, very cool. It's very, very, very low. I mean, I would not want to be driving this along British roads. But it produces an absolutely insane 636 horsepower, which is, I mean, close to double the original, which honestly makes it surprising. Sorry, I'm about to have a crash. Oh, hello. Oh. This thing is so strong. I cannot believe that the roof survived that. I hit into a house head first. Bloody hell. Because as I was saying, I am honestly surprised at how controllable this thing is for the ridiculous amount of horsepower it has. I mean, we may as well give it a proper test. We're here at the runway. We're going to do a bit of a top speed run. That's 60. That's 100. That's 120, 130, 140. We're into 5th. We've still got another gear left to go. 160, 170. We're into 6th. 180. Oh, I'm not braking soon enough. Sorry, car. Right, I think that was 180 before my considerably painful demise. Well, the car's not particularly happy with that crash. This thing is very, very strong. I'm not sure it enjoys being crumpled up that much, but it can do 180 miles per hour on a runway. Now, this stripped interior may tell you that this is a bit more of a hardcore racing variant, and you would be right. This is the Track Day, which is a kind of custom-built racing version. Not meant to be a factory vehicle, just somebody wanted to make their Mondello as fast as possible on the track. And it is very, very fast. I mean, this probably isn't the right place to be testing this, but carries a lot of speed and only sometimes spins out if the driver's being a tit. Now, I'm not going to have time to show you all of the configs in complete detail, because otherwise this video would be 20 years long, and frankly there's got to be, you know, some surprises left when you go check it out yourself. But I will have a quick rundown of the final few configs, and then we will get on to our big hill. So first up we have the wide body. Not quite to my tastes, but I can see that I'm sure it appeals to some people. Yeah, it has a big, very wide bolt-on stance and some massive wheels. We have the Mitech Super Turbo, which is more of my style, an even more insane, over 700 horsepower twin-turbo Mitech car with a sequential gearbox, centre lug wheels, and a few other gizmos. And then we move on to the final few, which are racing variants, or, well, something like that. We have the GT Cup car, which is more of an intense, you know, factory race, you know, one-make race series vehicle. You know, it has like a proper full racing interior with the plexiglass windows and all of that. Very, very cool to see. And then I guess this is supposed to be the Challenge Stradale. It's a little, you know, I guess comparing it to real world vehicles is a bit silly when it isn't a real world vehicle, but this is apparently the very rare road going GT Cup Stradale, which is the road going version of that race car. It's you know, it's a very cool concept. I'm sure it'd be a very rare vehicle in real life as well. And finally we have this, the Time Attack. It's nuts. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, it has, look at this aero kit. It is absolutely insane. I'm sure this thing is going to either stick to the ground or fly off into the air when we take these down the big hill. So let's see how they do. Well, here we are at the big crash hard hill. I've assembled a collection of different models, including my obligatory custom variant. This is a Mitech Stage 2, so over 700 horsepower Aperta with the F1 box. I thought it was a nice, you know, a nice build, something you would probably see in period. And this is the interior I was talking about earlier. Tan leather with green cloth. It goes so well together, I think. I'm a big fan of green over tan, so green over green and tan is just perfect. This thing I adore. So we're going to put the roof down. I guess we'll shut all of the bits. The boot is still slowly opening. You can see those twin turbos in the back there, with that open. Very, very well detailed, as is everything else on this mod. and we will get moving down the hill. No pressure. It's stalled. Well, only one breakdown for an Italian vehicle. That's not too bad. Well, let's see how all of these do. I'm not sure what to expect. I think they'll all survive quite well, like visually, but I don't think any of them are actually going to make it to the bottom. I've got to try and maintain, a close distance. That stance one, the wide body is not going to have a great time with that lack of suspension travel. I managed to make the first jump. I mean, we all seem to be going quite well so far, but only time will tell if that will last. Now, the ones on the right have to deal with the jump. Now, the suspension on this thing is quite forgiving, but I don't think it's forgiving enough to deal with that. No, run into the rocks, 2 into the rocks. Third one has avoided it. It's going over the road in front of me. Oh no, I flipped! Oh, we've all had incidents. Oh, I've lost drive. Oh, that is such a shame. I mean, I'm still making it down the hill, but I don't have any sort of drive. It's just rolling. What are the others up to? Right, so the normal aperta, not too great. Definitely hit a rock there. The Corsa, no. Oh, I've no idea how a vehicle was still crashing after all that time. The Mitech made it? No way. That's insane. It must have been going so quickly that I literally didn't even see it. It made it to the end and everything. That's really impressive. It must have been, I mean, it's turbocharged. It must have been so quick that I literally didn't see it escape off into the distance. Wow, that's impressive. I was wondering where that had gone. The wide body, not doing so hot. The cup car, the track one, no. And the hill climb, also no. But mine's still going, it's still rolling. Yeah, this is a remarkably sturdy vehicle, but stuff like that is just too much for suspension or a supercar to handle. Well, that has been about it for this video. I highly recommend you do go check out the mod in the description. As I said, it is paid. It's only a few quid. I would recommend it. I'd say it's worth it, especially after this update. But there's also a demo available if you're not sure whether you wish to spend your money. The links to both will be in the description. That's about it from me. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe and all that jazz. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.